I missed my flight and broke a heel in the same 10 seconds. Gate 42 was already closed. The screen above it flickered the word "departed" like a cruel joke. I stood there, barefoot on the slick airport tile, holding my useless heel like a dead bird, with nothing left but a carry-on bag and a backpack full of anxiety. My phone had died somewhere between security and a panic attack, and my flight, the one I absolutely had to be on to meet with a potential investor, was gone. I tried to breathe, tried not to cry. My silk blouse clung to my back with sweat, and my blazer felt like armor that didn't fit anymore. I was stuck in JFK Airport at midnight, and the last food I'd eaten was a sad protein bar on the ride over. The worst part? I hadn't told anyone I was coming home. There was no one to call, no one waiting. Then I heard it, a soft hum, like someone humming a song off-key. I looked down the row of seats and saw a man sitting cross-legged near the vending machines. He had messy brown hair, a hoodie with a coffee stain on the sleeve, and a tattered sketchbook resting on his knees. A half-eaten granola bar was balanced on his thigh. He looked up and met my eyes, not with pity, with curiosity. "You missed one too?" he asked. I nodded, trying not to collapse. "Yeah, and broke my shoe." He scooted over on the floor and gestured toward a spot across from him. "Sit. Airports are easier to survive at ground level. Gravity's already done its worst." I sat. It wasn't glamorous, but it was real. The cool floor felt grounding. "I'm Theo," he said, offering me the other half of his granola bar. "Madeline." I hesitated, then took it. "Thanks. I think I was about to pass out." "Don't worry. These things taste like cardboard, but they're weirdly effective." I smiled, an actual surprised smile. It felt foreign. He tapped his sketchbook. "I draw people I meet in limbo. Airports, bus stations, waiting rooms. They're full of stories no one tells." "What's mine say?" I asked, half joking. He looked at me for a long moment. "You look like someone who's used to being in control, but tonight, you're learning how to fall apart." I didn't respond, not because I was offended, but because he was right. He asked if I had anyone coming to get me. I shook my head. I'd left LA without telling anyone. I needed the solitude, or maybe I was afraid of hearing, "I told you so." "Same," he said. "I was supposed to visit my sister. Then I got cold feet. Stayed at the airport hoping something would tell me where to go." Did it? Not yet. We sat there in silence for a moment, two strangers whose lives had folded in on themselves. It felt oddly peaceful. I glanced over at his sketchbook again. "Can I see more?" He flipped a few pages. Portraits. People at gates with their heads in their hands. A child sleeping across 3 seats. A woman crying behind sunglasses. He caught something in them all. Not perfection, but vulnerability. "You're really good," I said. "I just draw what I see." And maybe, for the first time, someone saw me. We talked until nearly 2 a.m. Security officers passed by, cleaning crews swept the floors. The hum of the airport never really stopped. I learned he had once studied architecture, but dropped out after his father died. He never went back. Said he couldn't sit still long enough to plan buildings, but he could paint stories. At one point, I laughed so hard I cried. He'd made a joke about a squirrel that stole a sandwich from his backpack at a rest stop. I hadn't laughed like that in months. "I think I needed to miss this flight," I said softly. "Yeah," he said. "Sometimes detours take you to better places." By the time 3 a.m. rolled around, I realized I didn't want to leave. Not the airport, not this moment, not him. At 3:05 a.m., the overhead speakers crackled with static, followed by a garbled announcement no one listened to. A few feet away, Theo stretched his arms above his head, joints popping audibly, then pulled his hoodie tighter against the airport chill. "You cold?" he asked. "I'm fine." I wasn't, but saying it made me feel more put together. He reached into his backpack and tossed me a balled-up sweater. "Take it. No one wins points for freezing." It smelled faintly of paint and cinnamon. I pulled it over my head, and somehow, it felt like the warmest thing I'd worn in weeks. A janitor walked by, pushing a squeaky cart. Theo gave him a respectful nod. They're the real night shift heroes. True, I said. No one notices the people who keep everything running. He looked at me then, eyes steady. That include you? I hesitated. It used to. I ran numbers, told companies how to grow. But somewhere in there, I stopped growing myself. Theo nodded like he understood. Maybe he did. He seemed like the kind of person who saw the invisible threads between things. "Want to walk?" he asked suddenly. "Where?" "Just around. Terminal's empty enough." We left our bags behind the vending machine, like some sacred camp we knew would still be there. As we wandered, the airport felt almost holy. Metal beams stretched like cathedral arches, the echo of our footsteps like prayers unanswered. We passed a sleeping couple curled up on 2 chairs, a man in a pilot's uniform eating instant noodles, and a group of teenagers playing cards on the floor. Theo paused in front of a wide wall near the shuttered gift shop. "This would make a great mural," he murmured. "Big sky, sunrise, maybe a flock of birds breaking out of suitcases." I smiled. "Why suitcases?" He shrugged. "Because people carry too much and forget they can still fly." I wanted to kiss him then. I didn't. Instead, I said, "You should paint it. I know someone who could get you that wall." His eyebrows lifted. "You?" "Sort of." I told him, finally, what I used to do. The firm, the long days, the silent burnout. How I'd walked out without a backup plan and booked the first flight I could afford. "And that's why you ended up here?" "I guess I was hoping the universe would catch me." He gave a small smile. "Looks like it did." Back at our makeshift corner, the vending machine hummed like a lullaby. I curled up next to my bag while he sketched again. "Want me to draw you?" I shook my head. "Draw this moment. I want to remember it more than my face." By 5 a.m., my eyes began to close on their own. I must have dozed off, because when I opened them, sunlight was streaking across the polished floors, and Theo was gently tapping my shoulder. "They're opening up standby lists," he said. We walked to the kiosk together. A kind-looking woman scanned the screen and said, "2 seats just opened for 6:05 to LA, row 19. Theo looked at me. "Do you want it?" I nodded, "But only if you come too." He laughed. "I thought you'd never ask." We boarded together, strangers tethered by sleeplessness, paint, and granola bars. No promises, just possibility. We didn't talk much on the plane. Theo sat by the window, resting his head against the cold glass, sketchbook in his lap. I was in the aisle seat, eyes closed, but sleep didn't come. I kept thinking about the last 12 hours, how a delayed flight, a broken heel, and a stranger with a granola bar had unraveled something in me I didn't know was tied so tightly. Halfway through the flight, I opened my eyes and turned to him. He was sketching again, not the plane or passengers, but the mural he'd described. A massive wall of sky, a burst of birds lifting off, suitcases cracking open like eggshells. Each bird carried something small, a brush, a key, a folded letter. He caught me staring and smiled. "Needed something to remember this by." "I don't think I'll forget," I whispered. When we landed in LA, the morning was overcast, the kind of soft light that makes the city look like it's still waking up. We walked through baggage claim without rush, even though neither of us had checked luggage. Outside, rideshares blinked on phone screens, drivers waved signs, and morning traffic hummed beyond the glass doors. "So," he said, "do we, say goodbye now?" I didn't answer. Instead, I said, "You hungry?" He nodded. "Always." We ended up at a small diner in Culver City. Red vinyl booths, coffee that tasted like 1998, pancakes the size of hubcaps. We sat across from each other, this time without the echo of terminals or the flicker of fluorescent lights. It felt different, more real. He told me about his sister in Pasadena, how she had 2 kids and thought he should get his act together. I told him I was supposed to meet with a real estate agent tomorrow to start a new phase of my career, one that didn't involve hedge funds or soul-numbing spreadsheets. Maybe I'll fund murals, I said. Public art, spaces that breathe. He raised his coffee cup. To breathing. A few days passed, then a few more. I didn't see him again immediately. We texted, sure, shared photos. I sent him a shot of a blank wall outside a community center. He replied with a rough sketch of what it could be. Children's hands painted as wings, lifting a tired city. It was enough to make me call the director of the center and ask, what would it take to fund a mural here? I didn't tell them I knew the artist, yet. 3 weeks after the flight, I visited the community center again. Theo was there, already knee-deep in paint cans, a smudge of yellow on his cheek. He looked up as I approached, brushing hair from his eyes with the back of his hand. "You made it," he said. "You started without me." He laughed. "You're the money, I'm the mess." But we worked side by side that day. Him painting, me holding ladders, ordering sandwiches, laughing more than I had in months. It wasn't love at first sight. It was better. It was recognition. The slow, deliberate kind. The kind built on silence and granola bars and hallway walks. 6 months later, the mural was complete. Kids came by just to look. Locals snapped photos. The city even commissioned 2 more. Theo had found not just work, but purpose. And me? I started a small nonprofit that funded public art and creative community projects. The name? Gate 42. The logo was a single bird lifting out of an open suitcase. Some nights, when the world felt like too much, I'd return to that mural and sit beneath it. And once in a while, a kid would ask, "Who painted this?" And I'd point across the lot, where Theo might be sketching under a tree or teaching a teenager how to use spray paint without getting it all over their shoes. "That guy," I'd say. Then they'd ask, "Did you know him before?" And I'd smile. "No," I'd say, "but I missed a flight once and found him on the floor near a vending machine." Sometimes the best arrivals start with a departure you didn't plan, and kindness, real, quiet kindness, is what keeps everything in the air.